Hi guys, Zach here from BIMteriors, and today we're going to continue on walls, and specifically wall sweeps. So how do we create these beautiful custom wall bases, crown moldings, and bring them into our project? How do we create these custom profiles to be able to even bring into our project? And how do we actually use the wall sweep tool to sweep it around the walls that they need to be applied to. So in this way here, our drawings are accurately representing the things that we are specifying in our specs. Let's jump right into it. So we're going to want to create these beautiful custom base profiles, crown moldings, and we want to bring them into our project. So how do we do that? At the top of your ribbon, under the architecture tab, you've got your wall tool. So instead of selecting on your wall tool icon, there is a drop-down option. So when you select the drop-down option, under the wall sweeps, this is the tool that we're going to want to use. It allows us to create a custom profile and sweep it along the required walls that we want to apply this custom profile to, wall-based, crown molding, whatever it is that we want to apply to that wall. Now, when we select this tool, you can see that the options that we have are the cornice, the sample, but there's really nothing else. So as we start to apply this to the wall, this is not necessarily the profile that we want. We want to create a custom profile from that beautiful paste that we just spec'd, and we want to bring that into our project so that this way here, our drawings are visually capturing what we're specifying for our project. So what we want to do is go to the File tab. We're going to go to the new icon, and under here, select Family. Now this will prompt up the metric templates that we have to choose from for our families. Now, if you are in an Imperial project, you can then go find the Imperial folder, but metric for this example is absolutely fine. So we're going to want to find the metric profile family. And once you've found it, select it and hit open. So at this point, if it was purely custom that you were designing this profile itself, you can come to the Create tool at the top of your ribbon, select line, and start drawing using the draw tools that you have access to. However, maybe it's something that you're specifying. There's an actual stock model of this, and there's even a CAD file. You can utilize this to save you a lot of time and bring it into your Revit family and use it as a reference. To do this, you can go to, at the top of your ribbon, you can go to the Insert tool, go to the Import CAD tool option, and select on this icon. And then this will allow you to bring in that desired CAD file that you want to use as your reference. So in this case, we'll select base, and I'm going to hit open. So this basis came in at a larger scale than we want it to be. And the reasoning why is potentially it was created in a different file format. Maybe it was created in an Imperial file, and now that we're in metric, it's just not converted properly, and we want to see how we can resolve this. If you select on the CAD file itself, and under its properties, edit type, you can see that the scale factor is 25.4. So that's why it's coming in so large. You can just bring that back down to 1, hit OK. And at this point, it's actually going to bring it down to a scale that's more accurate to what we want to represent in our drawings. I'm going to scroll in. At this point, I'm going to want to move this to a specific point in my file. But if it's not allowing you to move, or use it to rotate, move, it's because it's pinned. So making sure that you select it, you unpin that CAD file, and then you can then select kind of a reference point that best suits your profile. So at this point it's in, we still have to create our lines. So this is where we can use the Create tool, select lines, and there's multiple ways we can go around this. We can then just literally sketch it. So go line by line by line, and using our line tools between our line, our arcs, whatever it may be, you can use our pick line tool. So this is a great feature that allows you to actually pick the lines that have already been created. Fun fact about this is if you select on one of them, hit the tab, it will then tab the entire outline, saving you a lot of time, creating all these lines with a click of a button rather than you actually having to go and select all of them. So once you've got your lines in there, what I like to do is remove our CAD reference. But before we load this back into our project, what we're going to want to do is go to File and save this and give it an actual unique name. So in this case here, we'll call this base. So in this way here, we know what this is. There's nothing more frustrating when you're in your project and it's family 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you're working in your project and trying to assign these profiles, you have no idea what this is. So giving it a unique name like base, crown molding, you know exactly what they are. So at this point, we can load them into our project, and you'll see nothing's happened. So what we're going to want to do is go back to the architecture tab. Under the wall, we'll use our drop down icon and go to wall sweep. And at this point, this is where we can create our custom wall base type. So what we're going to want to do is go to edit type, and we're going to want to create a new type and call this wall base. So once you've given it a unique name, and before we jump to hitting OK, we want to make sure that now that profile we just created, we can now apply that to this wall type. So we're going to want to go select our base, hit OK. So now when I select this wall and hit escape, we've now created this beautiful wall base that's being the spec that we use, the base that we're using in this project is now being designed and illustrated within our drawings. To add this to additional walls, what you can do is select on the base itself, and you can use the add or remove wall tools to select additional walls to kind of apply that wall base to the required walls that you need. Now, the other feature allows us to control the extent of that wall base. So if, for example, we don't want it going necessarily into that door jamb, we can bring that out to the desired location. And we're going to do the same with this side. And then this way here, it's graphically showing it a bit more accurately. Additional to this, if required, you have the ability to offset it from the wall or potentially offset it from the level. So for example, if there was some sort of topping, some sort of flooring that you wanted this to sit above, you can potentially, if that was 50, whatever distance that was, you have that control to give it a offset from the level. And that is how to create these beautiful wall bases within your Revit project. So now at this point, we've created our wall base, and now we want to apply a crown molding that goes on these walls just to the underside of our ceiling using the same workflow. So what we're going to want to do is at the top of your ribbon, go to the File tab, go to New, and select New Family. We're still going to want to find our profile, metric profile family. So once you find it and select it, hit on Open. So now for this example, what I'm going to do is instead of in the previous one for our base, we inserted a CAD and we used it as a reference and sketched that profile. In this one here, I'll just create a custom profile that maybe is unique for this project that we are getting custom made. So I'm going to go to create, and I'm going to use my draw tools to be able to draw this profile of what this is going to be. And again, you can make it as fun as you want. So maybe this is the profile that we're happy with. And again, before we load this into our project, the best practice is go to File, Save. So in this way here, we know that maybe this is our crown molding. And I'm just gonna get away from that DWG and hit Save. So in this way here, when we're in our project, we now know that this is the crown molding family and not having to do that guessing game of family 1, 2, 3, and so on. So once we've given it a family name, we're going to want to load that into our project. Now, just like our base, nothing has happened just yet. We've loaded that profile into our project, but now we actually have to create a crown molding type and then apply that new profile to that type. So again, go into the architecture tab, the wall tool, and using the drop down to get to your wall sweep. Instead of creating our wall base, we're going to want to edit the type and making sure that we edit the type. Again, take this as a note. If we just came to a wall base and we started selecting this and we just go into editing the type, anywhere that we've created the wall base type already will then get modified to this new crown molding profile. So we want to make sure that we duplicate this so that we're not editing the wall base, but in fact creating one that is specifically for our crown molding. If I can spell properly today, that would be great. There we go. Once you've got that name, you can press OK. And then again, making sure that, again, we are finding that profile that we just created using the crown molding and selecting OK. So then this way here, we can start to place this. And now we've got that crown molding profile. The great thing about this tool is that you're able to move this to whatever desired height. You can align it to the underside of your ceiling. So finding that plane of the underside of your ceiling, the top of your new crown molding profile. So in this way here, this room is now coming more complete with the base details, the crown moldings, and using this tool allows you to do it really quickly without having to create lines, but using the wall sweep command. So lastly, I also want to bring up that you can actually create a wall that already has these built in to it. So as you would create your wall, it would automatically come with your wall base and your crown molding. And once we create it, I'll show you the benefits of having it done, but also the drawbacks of doing it this way. So when you go to the File tab, your Architecture tab, hit the Architecture tab and go to Create a Wall. So we can pick a wall to start to create, and as we start to draw it, you can see that there's nothing there, and that is fine. So what we can do is come here and edit the type, and we're going to duplicate this wall, and we'll just say base plus crown molding. And hit OK. Now, what we want to do to be able to apply the base profile, crown molding profile is that within the structure of the wall, we want to hit edit. And I'm just going to bring this over here. At the bottom, so everything with the modify vertical structure, you can see it's grayed out, but there is an option to use wall sweeps. To make these active, what you can do is this preview icon at the bottom left-hand of your corner of your edit assembly properties, you can open this. And so what that's going to do is now bring this section of this wall that you can create, but now able to add sweeps to the profile of the wall. Now, if I select sweeps, we could add our base profile. We can add our crown molding profile. If we had a specific material that we wanted to apply to that, we could. We've got a distance from, so in this case here, maybe our base is actually at the base and our crown molding is at the top. And at this point, we might just want to hit OK to see what this looks like. So you can see here that has inserted it perfectly at the bottom of the wall. And if we go to the top of the wall, we now have our crown molding. So if I'm happy with this, then we can hit OK. Now, if not, we can go back to our sweep itself and start to play around with maybe the offsets, if there needs to be a flip, depending on how your profile was created, setbacks, any of these additional properties that will make sure that you can place your profile in the right spot it needs to be. Now, when I hit OK and OK, and lastly, OK, you can see here, now I'm just going to move this wall over here and even delete that wall. If I come to draw a wall, I'm going to make sure that I find that wall that we just created and start to draw it. You can see that it now automatically has the base profile that we just put into it, but also the crown molding. So this is where the drawback does happen, is that the crown molding is at the top of that wall. So say, for example, if we just played around with this and made this just unconnected to, we'll say 2200. So this way here, you can see, okay, I see the crown molding and this is great. But if the wall goes past our ceiling, well, I can't change the location of where this is. Where if I have the wall sweep tool, it allows me to customize the extents of where this sweep goes, the offset of where this sweep goes. So we can lock it to our ceiling. So if our ceiling does move, we have the capability to move that crown molding profile sweep to adjust, where if it's built within the actual wall, the only option that we have is to move that wall up or down, but that wall might need to go to the underside of slab or structure. And then you have to go back into the assembly and edit it, but sometimes then your ceilings throughout the project are all at different heights. So that's not necessarily the best workflow, and would recommend using the wall sweep tool instead. That gives you more freedom and flexibility as the project changes throughout the life cycle. And that is a wrap on the wall sweep tools. Hopefully you learned something new so that you can create custom profiles, bring them into your projects, create custom sweeps. So then this way here, the elements that you're specifying when it comes to wall bases, crown moldings, are now accurately being able to be represented in your model. If you're hearing this message, it means that you've listened to the new episode all the way to the end. And for that, I thank you. Please like and subscribe now for new Revit content weekly.